Hello everyone, welcome back to Chinmoy's Biology channel. So today we are here back with a new episode of Respiration in Organisms. So as I told you earlier that today we will be discussing about how do we breathe, that is our full respiratory system and all we will discuss today. So you need to see the full episode because many important things we are going to study today, and don't skip the video in middle. So without further delay, let's get started with today's episode. So we ended with this activity last day. So hope you all have done this homework. So what was the question there? That when will the breathing be slowest and in which it will be fastest? So when you are asleep or sleeping, it will be slowest, and when you are running it will be fastest. Okay, so other are moderate activities, so there also the pace of breathing will be more than that of sleeping, but slowest while sleeping and fastest while running. Okay, so today we will be discussing about how do we breathe. That is, we should concentrate on our full mechanism of breathing. So normally we take in air through our nostrils. When we inhale air, it passes through our nostrils into the nasal cavity. So what is the nasal cavity? You are having two nostrils, and it is when you are inhaling, it is passing into your nose, that is your nasal cavity. From the nasal cavity, the air reaches your lungs. Okay, so through the windpipe, lungs are present where? It is present in the chest cavity. Okay, this cavity is surrounded by ribs on the sides, and a large muscular sheet called diaphragm forms the floor of the chest cavity, right? So let us move on to this diagram right down here. So these are the nostrils. Nostrils will lead to the nasal passage, and this is the mouth or the oral cavity, right? So through the nasal cavity, here is the pharynx, here comes the trachea, and this trachea is taking your air to the lungs. These two are the lungs, which are again inside these ribs. Okay, so this is the rib cage which is protecting your lungs, and down to which there is a muscle which is separating the lungs from the abdomen. So this is the diaphragm. It is a thick layer of muscle. So what is it here? Let us see first here. Now, a large muscular sheet called the diaphragm forms the floor of the chest cavity. So that is what is there in the diagram, right? So breathing involves the movement of the diaphragm and the rib cage. During inhalation, the ribs move up and outwards, and the diaphragm moves down. So this movement increases the space in our chest cavity. So how you can experiment this? Now, while reading this lesson, going through this video, you just inhale, fill up your lungs with air. So what is happening? It increases the space in your chest cavity, and the air rushes into the lungs. The lungs get filled with air, and during exhalation, what is happening? Ribs move down inwards while the diaphragm moves up, and it is coming down in its former position. So this reduces the size of the chest cavity, and the air is pushed out of the lungs. These movements in our body can be felt very easily. Now take a deep breath. Keep your palm on your abdomen. Feel the movement of your abdomen. What do you feel? Now if you are keeping your both hands on your abdomen, and if you are breathing, inhaling and exhaling, what do you feel? You feel that the movement of up and down, we can say at times it is swelling, at times it is squeezing, right? So after having learned that during breathing there are changes in the size of chest cavity, children got involved in the chest expansion competition. So everyone was boosting, he or she could expand it at its maximum. So how doing this activity was going on with your classmates, you can do this. Now in this box there is a notice that smoking damages your lungs. You know that smoking is also linked to cancer, lung cancer, and it must be avoided. So whenever we see anyone on the screen smoking, it is written down there that smoking is injurious to health. So it is obviously very much injurious to our health. Now here you see all of a sudden when some foreign particle enters your nose, what you do? You sneeze. Why do we sneeze? So the air around us has various types of unwanted particles such as smoke, dust, pollens, etc. When we inhale, the particles get trapped in the hair inside our nasal cavity, right? So however, what happens? It may get past the hair in the nasal cavity. This may irritate the lining of the cavity, as a result of which we sneeze. So sneezing expels these foreign particles from the inhaled air, and a dust-free clean air enters into the body. So when we sneeze, we are expelling the foreign particles, the pollens, the dust, which is causing irritation inside our nose. So we sneeze and we expel that out, and we breathe in fresh air. So when you sneeze, you should cover your nose, and foreign particles you expel are not inhaled by any other persons, right? So here are two activities which we will read today, right? So in this activity, let us see what we are going to discuss. So take a deep breath. Measure the size of the chest with a measuring tape and record your observations, right? Measure the size of the chest again. So when you are expanding your chest full, you are going to take the measurement, and when you are releasing all your air, that is you are exhaling full, you will take the measurement of the chest. So this is a simple model of the mechanism of breathing. So this you are going to see here, air is drawn in, the ribs will move out, and the diaphragm will move down. Okay, this is inhalation, what is happening here. Then the air is forced out, then the ribs are moving back to own position, and the diaphragm is moved back. So this is exhalation. So just make a clear idea of what is happening. So this thing again we are going to do with the help of a bottle, two balloon, and a rubber sheet, right? Same thing is happening in that experiment as well. This is a human model. You can't see the things happening from outside. You can feel it. You can see the diaphragm. You can put your hand on your chest. You can see the inflation of the ribs, the movement of the ribs, how the diaphragm is moving down and how the diaphragm is moving back to its own position. This is inhalation and this is exhalation. First case, the air is drawn in, and the second case, air is forced out. So this mechanism we will do in the form of an experiment. You will write this is an activity you will do in your school. You will write the name of your classmate 1, 2, 3, 4. You will write what is the chest size during inhalation, what is the chest size during exhalation, and what is the difference in their chest size. So this is what you are going to do. Right, so then comes another experiment where we are going to activity 6.5. Here we are going to take a white plastic bottle. We will remove the bottom. We will take a Y-shaped glass or a plastic tube. How it will look like? Suppose this is a bottle. Okay, we will make a hole in the lid. We are making a hole in the lid here in the bottle, and we are just inserting a tube, glass tube or a plastic tube. You are making it like this. You are placing two rubber balloons on the sides of the this forked end of the tube. We are fixing two deflated balloons. Now introducing the tube into the bottle as shown in figure. We will show you down in the figure. Now cap the bottle tightly so that no air is going in. Now to open the base of the bottle, tie a thin rubber plastic sheet using a thick rubber band. So here you are tying a plastic sheet using a rubber band. So what we are going to do, like this it will look like. See, you can see this like this plastic bottle, balloons, first deflated balloons, then a rubber sheet, like this we are going to do. So now to understand the expansion of lung, what we are going to do, we are going to pull this rubber sheet downwards and watch the balloon. So when we are pulling it down, the lungs will inflate. When we are pushing it up, then the lungs will deflate. Okay, so like this only we will see the changes in the balloon, and the same changes will happen in case of our lungs when the diaphragm is moving down and diaphragm is moving up. So like this you should be able to discuss the mechanism of breathing with the help of this experiment, right? So this is a simple experiment where we are using a human model, and this is another experiment where we are using a bottle and two balloons. So here, when we are pulling it down, I think it is clear, then the lungs will inflate, the diaphragm is down, and when we are pushing it up, the lungs will deflate. So the first one is inhalation, the second one is exhalation. Okay, is it clear to all of you now? Now we will move on to what do we breathe out, this part. So that is activity 6.6. So let us move on to that part now. So what do we breathe in? So this we will do with the help of an activity. We will just prove this. So take a slender clean test tube or a glass or a plastic bottle, make a hole in its lid and fix it on the bottle. So pour some freshly prepared lime water in the test tube. So how it will look like? It will look like this. Okay, you are doing this experiment only. It will look like this. Okay, so it will look like this. So we are doing this experiment, so it will look like this. Now let us see this. So pour some freshly prepared lime water in the test tube, insert a plastic straw through that, and then what we will see, now the hole in the lid must be, the hole in the lid we are putting in such a way that it dips in lime water, right? Now blow gently through the straw in a few times, and is there a change in the appearance of the lime water? Can you explain this change on the basis of what you have learned in chapter 5? So you are aware that air we exhale is a mixture of gases, or inhale, that is also a mixture of gases. So what do we exhale? Do we exhale only carbon dioxide or a mixture of gases along with it? You must have observed that if you exhale in a mirror, a film of moisture appears on a surface. So when you are going near a mirror, when you are exhaling, you will see full moisture is there on the mirror, that is full of water vapor. So that is what we are exhaling. So from where do these droplets come? Okay. So that is a question which comes to our mind. This is the experiment what we are doing. So what that question comes to our mind. But what we will see when we are blowing this freshly prepared lime water, we will see that the lime water turns milky because the exhaled air is having maximum percentage of carbon dioxide, though it is a mixture of all gases, right? So inhaled air, it contains 21% oxygen and 16.4% oxygen is present in exhaled air, but exhaled air contains 4.4% carbon dioxide, whereas inhaled air contains 0.04% carbon dioxide. So in exhaled air, the amount of carbon dioxide, as the amount of carbon dioxide is more in exhaled air, this lime water turns milky. So whenever we will pass carbon dioxide through fresh lime water, it will turn milky. Is it clear? So now we have proved all with experiments, with activities, what is we are inhaling, how we are inhaling and exhaling, with diagrams and all. So now in the next video, we will be discussing about breathing in other animals, right? So now we are here with breathing in other animals. So animals such as elephants, lions, cows, goats, frogs, we all know that they are having lungs as we human beings are having. So apart from these animals, how do the other animals breathe? So let us take an example of cockroach. So a cockroach has small openings on the side of its body. So other insects also have similar opening on the side of its body. So these are called spiracles. And these all insects have a network of air tubes called trachea for gaseous exchange. Okay, oxygen-rich air, that is from outside, it rushes into the spiracles, into the tracheal tubes, it diffuses into the body tissue and reaches every cell of the body. Is it clear now? Now from the air, it is first reaching the spiracles. From the spiracles, it is entering into the body through the trachea. It is being absorbed into the blood. sorry, not into the blood. They are having not hemoglobin, they are having hemocyanin. So in higher classes you will study that. So like that only they are going into the cells. Similarly, carbon dioxide from the cells, they goes into the tracheal tubes and moves out of the spiracles. So these air tubes or trachea are found only in insects and not in other group of animals. So these are trachea, they are found only in insects, not in other groups. Now we are moving to earthworm. Earthworm, when you see an earthworm, you will see the skin of the earthworm is always moist and shiny, slimy in nature on touching. So it's when you see an earthworm in your toilet or in your backyard or in your garden, you will see it is having a slimy body and you just don't feel like touching it. So gases can easily pass through the skin only. So earthworm, they are breathing through the skin, which is a moist and slimy in nature. And though frogs, they are having lungs like humans, they can also breathe through their skin. But there a point is very important, that when the frogs are in their tadpole stage, before they are developing into frogs, they are having gills like fishes. So when they are in water, they are having gills like fishes, and they breathe with the help of their gills then when they are tadpole. And when they are grown up, they are having lungs, and when they are inside the water, they breathe through their skin. So dissolved oxygen is being absorbed by the skin. Okay, so they are also having a moist and slippery skin. Now we should study about the water animals, right? So we will study about the water animals. Now we have come to breathing underwater. So if you are being put underwater, can you breathe and survive underwater? No, it's not like that. But there are certain organisms which can live underwater. So how do they breathe? So we have studied in class 6 that gills in fish help them to use the oxygen dissolved in water, right? So in 6, you just recall, we have studied that fishes are having gills, which is using the oxygen which is dissolved in water. So gills are projections of the skin. Now you may wonder how gills help in breathing. Gills are well supplied with the blood vessels, and exchange of gases happens through this gills only, right? So in this we can say that fishes, they are always what we can say, that they are breathing in the water only, and the dissolved oxygen in water is getting absorbed with the help of their the gills, right? So gills are which are being supplied with a rich supply of blood vessels. They are helping in the gaseous exchange, right? So now, do all plants respire too? So that is also a question in our mind, that we have spoken about gills, we have spoken about the cockroaches and earthworm, how they are breathing through spiracles, trachea, as well as the skin. So how do plants breathe, right? So like other organisms, plants also respire for their survival, as you know, you have learnt in class 6. So just you need to put a little bit stress and recall that they take in oxygen from the air and give out carbon dioxide, right? So how this exchange of gases is happening in the cells? Oxygen is used to break down glucose into carbon dioxide and water, as it is happening in all other organisms also, right? In plants, each part can definitely take in oxygen from the air and give out carbon dioxide. Now, you have already learnt in chapter 1 that leaves of the plant have tiny pores called stomata. That leaves, suppose these are leaves, at the back side of the leaf, they are having tiny pores called stomata, right? You have studied that. So, these stomata helps in the gaseous exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So these stomata is playing an important role in the making of food or in the photosynthesis of the plant. Okay, so that you will read again in higher classes. Like all other living cells of the plants, the root cells also need oxygen to generate energy. So roots take up the air from the air spaces present between the soil particles. So these are soil particles. Suppose this is the root of the plant. So this is the root hair. So they are taking in oxygen from the air spaces in between the soil, right? So root absorbs air from the soil. So root is absorbing from the soil. Is it clear? Now, can you guess what would happen if a potted plant is overwatered? So, if a potted plant is overwatered, you can just think that the pores will get clogged with water and it will be difficult for the plant to breathe in through the air spaces, because all the air spaces will be filled in with water, right? So, the mechanism of the plant is not that like they can breathe through water as well. So it's not like that. So it is different. So it should not be overwatered. If it is overwatered, it will be harmful for the plant. So all living organisms need to respire, get energy needed for their survival. So this is all for this respiration in organisms lesson. So in the first part, I have taught you some few things about respiration and breathing, and in this part we have covered almost all the topics of respiration and breathing. I think you have gone through the previous episode as well. If you have not gone through that, please do go through it. I'll be putting the link in the description box below, and please do subscribe to my channel. And next lesson is coming, the transportation process in animals. So next lesson we will be dealing with that. So stay tuned, stay updated, and if you are liking my channel, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. And please go through my lesson full, don't skip in between, because I keep on sharing many important points in between as well. So what are the things we have studied today? We have studied in the 2 classes what is aerobic, anaerobic respiration, what is breathing rate, what is cellular respiration, what is diaphragm, exhalation, gills, lungs, inhalation, spiracles, trachea and ribs. So these all are the keywords we have learnt in both the classes. So stay tuned, stay updated with all my lessons and all my episodes. Thank you. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye till the next episode.